The Wrestling Marks of Excellence here on 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Now to today's show.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Marks of Excellence here on 96.9 FM, 1340 AM. As always, I'm your host, Glenn Thomas. With me tonight, I got joined by some special guests. It's the second night of WrestleMania, WrestleMania 37. If you want to add a number to it, WrestleMania Tampa, if you want to say it. I know people don't want to add numbers, but anyway, it's WrestleMania night number 2. I'm joined with my main man, Champ Creed. What's going on, Champ?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much, brother. Just enjoying the scenery. We still got to try what you. I also got the hardcore one, Mike Knoxxx, with us on the show. Mike, it's been a long time since you've been on the Wrestling Marks of Excellence. What's going on, brother?
What's going on? Thanks for having me back here, brother. Too long! And I'm hyped, as you can already tell.
Man, let's get started. Let's get started at the end, man. Roman Reigns retains the Universal Championship. He still is the head of the table. Were you guys surprised that Roman Reigns retained? I'm going to tell you this. I was surprised. I thought he would lose the title, but not get pinned. I thought either Daniel Bryan or Edge would win the title. More so, I thought was Edge who would win the title, and then maybe feud with Roman down the line as they go to WrestleMania Backlash, as it's now called. I thought that would be that would happen and that would transpire. But I guess the WWE saw it another way. To me, right now, I don't see anybody defeating Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is right. There's nobody on the roster right now. He won this triple threat match. There can't be anybody I see that's going to give Roman Reigns the challenge that he needs. And he holds on to this title for a long, long time. Mike, you're a guest, man. So we can go ahead and start with you. Your thoughts on Roman Reigns retaining the Universal Championship?
I had no faith that he was actually going to win this match. Talking with Wrestling Marks of Excellence own nephew Corey on my post show from this morning and in a preview show today, it just kind of made sense. The whole 10-year Edge being, giving up the title and all those kind of things. It just felt like, okay, it was meant for Edge. They put Daniel Bryan in here so that he could take the pin so Roman can still look strong. But the fan in me, the one who acknowledges that he is the head of the table, I've said weeks and weeks coming into this, it would make zero sense for all that they've built for him since he's been back. Since last year's pandemic that was really affecting the world, where he wasn't at WrestleMania, and the coming back with the head of the table with Heyman, just being a completely different Roman Reigns, if you will. None of it would matter if you didn't win the biggest match. And to this is the biggest match. So I felt for everything that's a gimmick's sake, which is the head of the table, acknowledge me and the things that he's doing, he had to win the match. And so for that, I didn't pick it. I thought Edge would win, but all hell, the head of the table.
Yeah, definitely that, man. It was definitely definitely a good match there at the table. Hey, Champ, your thoughts, man. Your thoughts on the Universal Championship match.
Well, I mean, I kind of figured that Roman was going to win and leave with the title just for the simple fact from the business aspect of it. If you're switching platforms from the network to the Peacock network, there are going to be a lot of eyes that aren't normally fixated on the pro wrestling realm of entertainment. And you need a guy like Roman as representation of what your company is all about. And, we've had Roman pushed, much to the disagreement of a lot of fans. But however, this was the corporate move to make. And in my estimation, it was the right move to make, especially this is your first time in front of an audience and a crowd. And this is your first time in front of a larger audience now you went from WWE went from its own entity and universe with the WWE app to a segment of entertainment now on the NBC Peacock app. So with that segment, you have to have a representation of your genre of entertainment and, who be it but him to be the proper representation for it. I like it.
Yeah, definitely that. He is a big star. I mean, he is a big star. He is, again, I'm not going to say he's rock-ish, but he's up there. You know what I'm saying? He's getting there. he's a household name, as you mentioned. You want him to carry the title for a long time. But again, along with Paul Heyman, along with Jey Uso, along with Roman Reigns, right now Roman is rolling, man. And I dare not say that he is one of the biggest heels in professional wrestling right now.
Biggest heel. He is the biggest star in professional wrestling. Is Roman Reigns. Okay. And like the post just said, you mentioned Blackish in a sense. I had to piggyback off that real fast. Just tweeted it in Facebook to shout out to all the representation of them all from at WrestleMania. We always talk about how WWE doesn't give the culture wins. Apollo, Amos, Nia Jax, Roman Reigns, Bianca Belair. They all came out on top. WrestleMania, the WWE is turning the page. They're trying to make the wrong for all the years and years of mistakes of not having better people, the right people be on top. And it can't get no better than that. Like I said, having the head of the table, the biggest star in professional wrestling, Roman Reigns, winning tonight. It solidified everything. And like you said earlier, Glenn, who can be next for Roman? Because unless Samoa Joe gets up off that table, I can't believe nobody's going to give Roman Reigns any kind of chance in hell to stop him from being as dominant as he's been.
I got to go with, what I got to go with. If you want to see next on the table, I think the place to go and the way that you will move is you got to get Brock from his home. You got to get Brock Lesnar.
But that should be safe for Bobby.
Yeah. We got to save that for Lashley.
You do want that for Lashley, but you can still have both. This is how you get both, because the way that you work it and the way that you get both is Brock comes back. He's a Paul Heyman guy, right? So Paul is creating his stable. When Brock first comes back, him and Roman ain't beefing. Brock goes out and take out Bobby Lashley. Brock gets the championship. Heyman's stable has both championships, right? Now you get Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar arguing over who is the better champion, who is the best champion, and that's how you get to Roman Reigns and you get to Brock Lesnar. And you just probably may have to unify the title for a minute or carry both. Eventually, somebody will lose one of the titles, and you keep it moving. But I think you go with Brock and Roman somehow get that way. If you can get Brock off the table, I like the suggestion that you made, or the Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe will be a great fit. Something that we have not seen. It's something that we had not seen in the WWE. We have not seen at all. So Samoa Joe will be great. He can't go Seth Rollins. You can't go Kevin Owens. He already did that. Right now you can't go Daniel Bryan or Edge. He just beat those two guys on the grandest stage of all.
Together.
Right.
So you can get that backlash, WrestleMania backlash match from those two, but I don't know who else is going to be. You mentioned wrestling for the culture tonight, or the culture moving in WWE. Are they making I'm going to go steal something that the Wizards said all the time. Are they stealing something from the past? I say they're not. Have they been these many people of color who could be on top?
Well, is that the question? I mean,
the question is, if we go into the history of WWE, right? Could we have had at that time? First of all, we didn't have that many people of minority in WWE at one time.
Right. The roster is more culturally diversified than it has been in the past. But to answer the question, has there been other performers of color that have been qualified? The answer is there's always been someone. You can make with this thing. You can make someone. You know what I mean? Like, how many times have we seen? I give great example. The Lex Express. Mm-hmm. They tried to force Lex Luger down the fans to throw, and it just wasn't working. But they kept pushing. So to answer the question, has there been talent? Yes. But tonight and where we are now in this period of time, it's just that number-wise, in terms of the quantity of performers with quality performance skills, it's at an all-time high, and it's only going to keep getting better. I mean, the one thing I see and that I saw, like, from going from last night to tonight, was it almost felt like there was how could I put this? It almost felt like there was a different type of booking. Like, I felt like the booking yesterday was booking for the future, and the booking for today was booking for the present, if that makes any sense.
Well, I want to piggyback off you in the question which was asked about also about African Americans representations in the past. And you're right, there haven't been many in the business, but I do think there's been a point at some time but they all could have gotten that push. Let's just go back to the Attitude Era's biggest one who never got the push, which was Ahmed Johnson. We can go politically all we want to.
Well, whoa. I got to stop you there, Mike. We already know what we know why.
Well, I'm just going to throw that name out there. There's been guys. And also, why wait 10 years for Bobby Lashley? You know what I'm saying? Lashley's been there. I've always thought when I look at Brock Lesnar, there's Bobby Lashley. To me, the only difference is that, yes, I think Lashley, doesn't have as much appeal and, charisma as Brock does. People say Brock is as stiff as a rock. I disagree. Just go back to recent Rock with the boombox alone. So Brock Lesnar can be funny and can be entertaining when he wants to be. I'm gonna hit you
on the Bobby Lashley. Remember, Lashley left. They was pushing Bobby Lashley. Lashley was in the main event with Vince McMahon, Donald Trump, Umaga. Bobby Lashley was that guy. Bobby Lashley made it a business decision that he was going to go down to TNA. So Bobby Lashley was going to be that guy. It's not like the WWE wasn't going to give him that rub or that shine. Lashley was headed that way. Remember when Bobby Lashley came in, they talked about his military career, about his wrestling career. They was putting the jetpack on Bobby Lashley. But
how long was that before he got that push, though? He had been there a few years at that point. But other guys that come in that company of the other fair skin complexion and it has the pedigree and the makeup that he has would have got that push a lot sooner. Let's not, as much as I'm saying respect the coach and what they're doing now, they're making amends for the mistakes they made in the past before. There's been guys that they should have strapped that rocket to and gone off the deep end with. That's what makes it great. You talk about what would be next for him, and I don't know if we're going to jump there, but I could see Big E Langston, I keep saying his last name because I like it now at this point, being that guy. They say he was supposed to have that next big push. Well, he can't be pushed if he's still holding the Intercontinental title. That Apollo had to win that match so that Big E can go on to something bigger and better. Is that Roman? I'm not sure, but it be. It should be. It's something we have not seen, and it gives us the Shield versus the New Day all over again.
Yeah, it has to give a push somehow. Big E would be a good rival or a good fit for him there. The question is now, can Apollo carry the IC title? As you alluded to, he beat Apollo Crews beat Big E tonight with the help from Baba Kato, whatever they want. They don't have a name for him yet.
He's a general. He's a Nigerian general. Did you not see the stripes?
But whatever it is, they didn't even have a name. The announcers don't even have a name for him. So whatever he is, whatever his name he wants to go, just like don't make us forget that he was just on Raw Underground just a few months ago. All right, go ahead and give him the name that we know he was built as, Baba Kato.
Hold on. See, I heard that all night tonight as well. Was he really built as that, or was that a name they gave him? This is the thing with wrestling fans. We got to remember, it's wrestling. Okay, there's always a reset button. There's always that thing they put in front of your face for Men in Black that make you forget something at a drop of a dime. They came out with him. It was horrible. It was horrible when they came out with him. It was horrible with Sting.
But not this quick though. Huh? It's not this quick though. It's like 3 months ago. It's not like 12 years.
Did Big E not beat Apollo into a Wakandian accent? I can accept that.
Yeah, but
he beat him so many times. He made him come back with a whole different gimmick.
But his name is still Apollo Crews. You still call him Apollo Crews?
Well, you know what? But the business reason behind that is because I'm thinking if you're gonna switch to the accent, you should just go back to Uha Nation, personally. But they have so much ownership in the IP that they invested into of Apollo Crews that that business decision can't be changed at this point in time. You know what I mean? And a lot of the storylines now, before it was based on the story to develop and unfold over time. Now, a lot of the story or most of the stories are predicated on the business decisions. And, like I said, last night, it felt like the storylines were pretty organic. They were set up for booking for the future. And tonight just felt like business booking. I don't know. I didn't feel tonight like I felt yesterday. I don't know if it's exhaustion. I don't know if it's 2 shows back to back, but it was just like even the Rhea Ripley, call up, title shot, Asuka win. I just felt like that just came out of nowhere. I get it, but I just wasn't invested in it.
I had thought that, going into this WrestleMania weekend, that they would keep this, right? That we know they love money and fans will go out here and spend money for both nights, as we saw they did. Mm-hmm. But I'm with you on this one, and I don't think it was more like NXT Stand Deliver where night one was better than night two. And I'm thinking that these night ones are better than night twos because it's the first time you see it. It's the first time with fans coming back. It's different. And then you got night two that's going to be just as long as night one. You waited all day, and then here you go with this again. I don't think night two was bad. I just think it's hard to top night one. And for me, night one wins because of, to me, the biggest thing that happened last night was not Bianca Belair winning. It was it was Bobby Lashley retaining, in my opinion. I think that was just as big. That's not being spoke about in the culture, that we have seen people come here and win this match, only being Kofi Kingston. Now we saw somebody actually defend that title and win that title still at WrestleMania. I thought it was just as big, if not bigger than Bianca Belair. Taking the luxury from them ladies. I loved it. I just thought, Bobby Lashley's been there as long as he's been there. He earned it more. And that fast forward us into tonight. I thought night two, honestly, has me talking more than night one does. From a wrestling story standpoint, you have all the things that happen at the beginning of the show, right? I'm quite sure we're going to talk about it. I don't jump too far ahead in that whole that you like it or you did not like it between The Fiend and Randy Orton. You have what happened at the end of the show where he pit both of these guys. So what is next for that? Like, he was so dominant in that match. And then you have, the Logan Paul incident. I know people may have liked it, but it was trying to be copycatting of WrestleMania 14. Just like the two same stars, and he's not no Mike Tyson. But that's what it reminded me of. I think you have more to talk about tonight as far as moving forward in wrestling than I thought you did from last night, just for me.
Okay.
I give this thing on the movement. The one thing that tonight, to me, feel like the matches moved too quickly than last night. The matches moved by real quick. If you got to look at some of the time frames of the first couple matches, we was already into like the third match quick. When you deal with the time frames of the matches, I think the Randy Orton and Fiend thing only lasted about 6 minutes. That was kind of short. The Apollo Crews and Big E match that lasted about another 6.5 minutes. There was nothing short of 10 minutes on last night's show, as far as matches wise. So this stuff to me just moved out. It moved a little bit quick. As far as match time, had a lot of fluff in it. Also, I think last night was because we was excited. It was the first time you've seen WrestleMania with crowd in a long time. Yeah. Tonight, in the card, the way the positioning of the matches last night was good. I think even the positioning tonight of the matches was great. I think we didn't get a final of storylines like we did last night. I think that was the biggest concern about tonight. Last night, you got some final storylines. We didn't get a final storyline of Randy Orton and The Fiend. Matter of fact, if truth be told, if I'm honest, I'm kind of confused what actually happened there.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
All right, yeah. Give us your rundown, Mike, because I'm. Go ahead.
Give me your rundown because I'm confused.
As I tweeted out, okay, it was the biggest problem with The Fiend, right? Was it had what WWE continues to do all the time, and that's rocket strap someone that's so dominant, like they used to do with Brock. How does one lose? Right? So nothing has beat The Fiend. Bray Wyatt has lost, but The Fiend has not lost. Okay, besides being burnt, right? So technically he had already lost because it was a Inferno match, right? He got burnt, he lost. But again, not pinned. The Fiend had not been pinned. And I get people saying, well, he kicked out of 3 curb stomps, but he can't kick out of an RKO. For what it's worth, wrestling fans, put your intelligent wrestling hats on for a second. In the history of wrestling, the RKO is the most devastating move, one of them in wrestling history. The curb stomp is not. We may like it better, it may look more appealing, but into the story of wrestling, the RKO is forever lasting.
Yeah,
right?
there's if you did analytics on kickouts, not that many people have kicked out of an RKO. Like once you get hit with it, 9 times out of 10, you're done.
So then you have where, as I'm saying, who can beat The Fiend? His own prodigal, his own devil's advocate controlled him to defeat him. He didn't lose to Randy Orton. And then for the fans out there that just love to poop all over anything that WWF does and says that Bray is buried and they need to make up for things. Wasn't it the same conversation I was saying last night about Sasha Banks being buried because she lost 6 WrestleMania matches? Yet she's sitting outside the ring enjoying the moment because she understands the business. Bray Wyatt is not buried at all. The story continues to go and go and go. Wrestling fans, wake up. This is not
Okay.
1975. Wrestling's not about wins and losses. It's about storylines and moving the needle of money. And Bray Wyatt, and I'm not saying I'm here for it. I understood it. I like it. That's what I took from it. I could be 100% wrong. Let's be real.
No. I mean, you're right.
That's my take is that Sister Abigail, or whatever the hell she became tonight, distracted him enough. She has power. Who's brought him back in the first place? She has been doing that, right?
Mhm.
She's been using all the spiritual whatever this is and the hexagons and the blood and all that stuff. She's been found and tapped into some power. And she controlled them. That's what it is. I don't think it's a burial. I absolutely love it because no one can beat the Fiend. But her.
It's not a burial. I think she shows that there's some power that's there. I just didn't, Radio got the quick win. My thing was, okay, he's the burnt Fiend all week, and he comes out the regular Fiend on Sunday night at WrestleMania. They've
been feeding them blood, guts, and worms all week. And listen, that was, and we say all week. Where were we seeing them all week? We saw them on Raw. We didn't see them on Raw, though. We didn't see them on Raw. And I knew then something was different.
But every time we've seen him prior to this, he was the burnt Fiend. So now being a burnt Fiend, we're expecting we're going to get a wrestler for burnt Fiend. You lost me there because when he comes out, even in the vignette, when he was walking up the thing,
he transformed. He transformed from the burnt Fiend back into the. And some people are saying they don't even think it's Bray Wyatt. I think it is. I saw that after they thought it wasn't even Bray. They thought it was somebody completely different.
Look, I don't know where the story is going. We got to suspend our disbelief. Let's stay within the lore of the. As we stay within the lore of the characters. My thing is this: Bray Wyatt. I can't remember him ever having a significant. I wish Wizard was on here. Has he ever had a significant win at WrestleMania?
Why does that matter? And no, he hasn't. But wrestling fans are saying what you're saying right there. That's why I asked. It's like, why does that matter?
It matters to me because here is one of your. All right, in the world of stars, there are very few superstars. In the realm of guys that can kind of like pull in a certain segment of the crowd consistently, you got a guy like him that can do that. Now, wins and losses, like you said, the W's and the L's don't really count. It's how it happens, and it's also within the context of the story. So now, like you said, he lost here, but the story will go on. And it's up to us to stay tuned to watch the story go on. Personally, if it was me, I would have kept him burnt, right? And then if he were going to lose, then let him lose as he was burnt, and then do. But I don't know. I just feel like having a signature win with this monstrous character on this platform with new people watching, it would keep them interested to see
what new people.
The people that have Peacock that didn't have WWE Network.
The people who had Peacock aren't wrestling fans are going to watch because all of a sudden they got that. I don't think that adds.
No. You don't. You listen. You can be scanning this app and there's something on in the first tab. You may or may not watch it. I would love to know those conversion rates of people that actually stumble on.
You always get new fans. It's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I get that part of it, but
you got people who don't watch wrestling all year, but they watch WrestleMania. I got guys that I coach with, that I deal with, and I'm like, "Yo, it's WrestleMania week." Oh, they said it is. What channel is coming on? So they come back for WrestleMania,
right? And you have a bunch of different stars. Like you had Logan Paul involved, so more people that his diehard fans are going to follow him. Just like how you had Bad Bunny the other night. And we're going to talk about Bad Bunny again because to me, Bad Bunny was the MVP of both weekends. Of both nights. But to finish up my point with the Fiend, I just think when you have a character like that, you can do with him what you did with the Undertaker. Not saying that you got to create this.
But that's who he is.
15, 20 years.
But that's
he's not. No, he's not. If he was, he would have won.
Not under. First of all, Undertaker's streak happened by mistake. Second of all, he is exactly that Undertaker. If you can believe in the mystical powers of the dead man, that's exactly who Bray Wyatt is. And to answer, go back, you mentioned before, how many significant wins does the greatest of all time, Shawn Michaels, has at WrestleMania? I think 2 or 3. So it doesn't matter if you win or lose WrestleMania. It's about the guy in the match and what he does in the match.
But how long are we gonna have to wait for him to get a significant match? How long you been there?
Again, I stopped looking at wins and losses and caring about them. I care about the story. That's been me. Because that's just what it honestly, because he's won every match except for WrestleMania that he's in. So I put security loss at WrestleMania. I didn't think he would lose, and I understand how it was weird him coming out, and he should have had to burn stuff on. It's just odd that right before he comes out, I go, God, I hate that costume, and all of a sudden he's back to that. You know what I'm saying? And it made sense because the way they put it together, he came from burnt, then it burnt down, right? And next thing you know, he disappears, and he has a jack in the box or the kind in the box, and he comes out. I don't know. Maybe because I watch too much Vampire Diaries and all that kind of stuff with my wife, I can understand it. I don't know. Yeah. It must be some stuff like that, I guess.
All right. But we talk about wins and losses, man. But Shawn Michaels, and I can't give you that. I can't let that slide. Michaels wins. He's 6-11 at WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying?
That's my point, though.
But his 6-11 at WrestleMania, his matches were significant. They were main event matches going into it. So toward the later
out of the biggest matches he's had at WrestleMania, outside of 12 against Bret Hart, and I think
25 against Ric Flair was big. That was a significant match.
That wasn't big. He fought an old ass Ric Flair who was supposed to lose.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you, Mike, why it was significant.
Ric Flair was gonna win that match. Let's be honest.
No, that's my point. Because you saw the two best workers of all time wrestling each other in the ring.
First of all, I think Ric Flair's overrated, but I'll let that slide.
And best workers, biggest names. Forget.
Biggest names. There you go.
Biggest names. I give you the biggest names of all time, right? And you can't tell me the matches that he had with the Undertaker, even though he lost, wasn't great. Those matches, and I've seen both of those live. So those matches were great matches. You know what I'm saying?
I know they were. But I'm not denying that. I'm not. Sean's my guy. That's my guy. Like their tribal chief is my guy. I love Shawn Michaels. I'm just pointing out the fact that, let's be real, a 6-11. That means the greatest, one of the greatest of all time, doesn't have a great WrestleMania record, and no one ever cared about it. Like they're caring about the theme, but they're caring about Sasha Banks. It doesn't matter. And listen, last night even, I thought, despite everything, because of how she's been used, Sasha Banks should have won at WrestleMania. But when she didn't, I didn't go, oh, they're doing Sasha wrong. That's my thing.
She's a great worker. When you have great workers like Sasha,
and isn't Bray a great character? He's pretty much controlling his own character.
The difference is, though, this is the difference. Sasha put a younger talent over. Shawn has put younger talents over, right? He's helped younger talents develop who they are.
It's Orton's fault again. Orton buried the younger Bray Wyatt.
No, Orton didn't bury Bray Wyatt. Again,
I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I wouldn't say
that. If we really honest, Bray Wyatt, Fiend, whoever, him and Randy Orton really haven't had any great matches.
No, they haven't.
Right.
So look at all the matches they've had. Always been gimmick matches, right?
It should have been a Fire Funhouse match, in my opinion. But fans were back and they couldn't do it.
The last time we saw him wrestle at WrestleMania was the Wrestlemania 30. In Orlando.
Yeah, that horrible.
In Orlando, we saw the hologram stuff in the ring. So it may not be the Fiend itself, but it may be just the dance partner that he's dancing with, and they got to recreate things. I think the storyline. I'm invested in the storyline. All right, I used to watch Young and Restless. How many times Victor Newman died and all that other
hospital? Don't judge me.
And you keep moving. But again, you invest in the storyline. But as go to Champ's point, when you have a new audience, you got to make your matches endings make sense for the new audience so they can watch for the next show.
Because they might not come along for the ride, man.
That's the reason why you do watch. Like, what the hell was that? I got to watch tomorrow.
No, like you said, you can always hit the reset button, but for that, okay, you did make a point. You have to have somebody to say, well, wait a minute, what is that? I got to watch tomorrow. That would work if we were in a different time. People have too many other distractions now in terms of like their media viewing, and not for nothing, we always have to address. We can't act like it ain't there, but there's a stigma of people still being pro wrestling fans, and a lot of that stems from the gimmicky and hokey things that they do that just not necessarily please the audience, but it just like, okay, so if I never saw a wrestling match in 20, 30 years or whatever the case may be, right? And I watched that Randy Orton and Fiend match, I go, okay, all right, wow, this dude is coming out to a lot of pomp and circumstance here. He has the box, he has the girl, he has the light, he has all this. okay, let me see what's going to happen. And I said, oh, he lost because of, all right. All right.
What distraction was worse, that one or MVP?
Bro,
because I listen, and I thought for me again, my favorite match of the weekend, right, was that, and of course, for my reasons behind it. But I mean, which one was worse? At least she's bleeding. Like maybe he thought she was hurt. You know,
it made me think of Papa Shango. Remember back Papa Shango?
Yeah, that Papa Shango gimmick is great. It still works to this day.
When he made Hogan have that heart attack. Oh no, who was they made that heart attack? Was that's Ultimate Warrior? I was like,
Ultimate Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior. That was some of the funniest TV ever. Yo, Papa Shango was definitely over.
Ultimate Warrior. Let's move on a little bit. We talked about. Let's go to. We mentioned Rhea Ripley defeating Asuka. I thought was great. I'm gonna tell you why I think it was a great move. Asuka's held the title for a while. Rhea Ripley has been in NXT, household name. They reboot her. Now you can create different matches. Now you can bring back Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. You got Rhea Ripley in the Raw roster. Asuka had ran through everybody on Monday Night Raw for the most part. So now you can have different dance partners. And there's always a reset. You had more title changes tonight than we did. No title changes yesterday. All right?
Yeah.
All the title changes.
Did. Yes, we did.
Oh, one title change. Oh, Bianca Belair, sorry.
Then he had 2 titles on the line.
All right. Yeah. But you had one title change. Excuse me about that. 2 title changes. Sorry. AJ Styles won as well.
Sorry, title changed all over the place.
Tonight you have major title changes, which I think this one is different. Rhea Ripley's title change is different because it resets the women's division. You got a reset on both sides of the women's division. All right. And we talked about last night the 4 horsewomen being involved and everything. So the reset of the women's division now with Bianca Belair, with Rhea Ripley, you have 2 younger champions, different women that you can establish this the women's division with and create new matches.
Right.
So thought the match was pretty good. I thought it served its purpose. It introduced Rhea Ripley. It doesn't hurt Asuka at all. Asuka can do what she need to go do. She'll be back in the title picture for a little bit later down the road. But Rhea Ripley beating Asuka, I thought was a decent match, and they gave it some time.
Yeah,
they gave it some time. Let it play out.
This was her get back from last year. Them making a mistake, or those who thought she made the mistake with Charlotte winning the NXT title, which kind of didn't make any sense. But it was the pandemic era WrestleMania at the time, so she got her get back. That entrance, I wasn't a fan of necessarily the singing that it came from, but it was a big important entrance that took place. So we can't take that from her. She deserves. She earned it. She did her thing. No, nothing bad about this match at all. Other than I wish Asuka would have maybe spit the green mist out or something, just to throw some little flavor in there.
Yeah.
Yo, Jen, why you get? Go ahead.
No, this is last. Go ahead. Ask me the question. This is going to be the last one before.
This is the one I want to hit you on, right? Because I want to hit you on the Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. Because you alluded to it a little bit earlier, because you talked about it. Logan Paul, we know, has a great following. 23 million people on YouTube. Great following here. Getting involved in getting involved in a match. Mike talked about it, reminds him of WrestleMania 14, the whole Mike Tyson situation. Your thoughts on Logan Paul? How big was this for Logan Paul and for the WWE? What kind of impact?
All right. First of all, Mike, that is blasphemous that you mentioned Logan Paul's name in the same sentence.
No. That's not what I meant. Come on,
boy, you gotta clean that. You gotta clean that up, brother.
I know I did. I said I know the guys. I said I know they're not Stone Cold and Mike. I said all that. I said I know they're not these guys, but that's what you're trying to do.
Okay.
I said, hey, come on now. No.
Because this is a poor man's version of that.
It's more than a poor man's version. Logan Paul's 25 million views. I mean, what I know. I don't got 10,000. So,
well, all right. So that situation within itself, I gotta say, I wish Corey was on here because, I didn't really like Sami Zayn. I didn't like him at all. And there's never been a wrestler that I went from not liking at all to holy shit. Oh, excuse me. Holy crap. This guy's pretty damn cool. And that's where we are with Sami Zayn. Him bringing in Logan Paul actually helps him out, and this is one of those situations where when you bring a guy in like Logan Paul, of course you want to bring some eyeballs, and then you hope when he leaves that some of those eyeballs stay glued to the programming. To me, in my estimation, it looks like he may be around for a little bit long. I don't think this was a one-shot thing. Whether he's there for maybe one more week or 2 more weeks, I think he'll be around a little bit longer to kind of like flesh this whole thing out. But I think it's a good thing. Now, it's not a perfect storm like the Bad Bunny situation. And I'm telling you, Bad Bunny won this weekend. Won because the best celebrity appearance in a match ever, right?
Ever.
Number one merch seller in the shop for weeks and weeks. Older fans that don't know about him as a musician, they're taking to his charisma and his performance like he's a legit personality, like he's a legit pro wrestler. And then the icing on the cake was the commercial, how they set him up with Triple H and a microphone to go on his tour. This might be one of the most mutually beneficial superstar celebrity combination things that they've ever had. Like, this was perfect to a T. From the appearance on Saturday Night Live to the Grammy, that was excellent. Now, if they can replicate something like that with Logan Paul, who has a fight coming up shortly with, as rumored to be, Floyd Mayweather, this may be something else to where it's now on that Peacock platform where you can tie in your personalities to the Jimmy Fallon show, SNL, whatever special programming they have, the Today Show, whatever it is. Like, this might be a new thing where Logan Paul will be that transition from, say they book, they used to book traditional media personalities, inject them in the universe, mutually beneficial relationship, then they go and blossom. Logan Paul isn't from traditional media. Logan Paul is from new media, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, social media. So this might be the beginning of something totally different with bringing in internet stars that can do some things, but it's going to be dependent upon how this works out with Logan Paul. But I think it's a good thing.
The one thing I want to add to your point, the Bad Bunny thing, whoever thought it out. They really mapped that out.
They surely did.
They mapped it out from the beginning, from when he appeared to where he's at now,
right.
Where he finished it off. You got everybody's talking about that. That Bad Bunny that was played out. It could work with Logan Paul. I think we do get him in a Sami Zayn situation. I don't know if those guys have been training to wrestle or whatnot, or I don't even know if they've been wrestling fans. But
not the way he took that stunner.
Nah, I know that.
Yeah.
He took the stunner. He took the stunner rough,
Legit.
But there's been some legit stars who took the stunner rough. That's a hard move to take. That's a hard move to take.
All you do is fall on your knees.
Yeah, but you want to make it look good.
Okay.
You want to make
I
it
wouldn't
look good.
doubt. I'll put it this way: I wouldn't doubt if it was Triple H that mapped out Bad Bunny from beginning to end.
That was perfect, man.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I wouldn't mind. I honestly, I think it might have been Triple H.
I'm trying to figure out how Champ just not got onto the Israel god that is Sami Zayn. That man's been going for the last 5 years on the stage. I'm sorry. Sammy is one of my favorite in the WWE right now.
Yeah, he just got
Israeli.
Yeah, he is. He's like
he's Syrian.
He's
I'm
serious.
sorry.
Yeah,
goodness.
I
know he's Jewish.
was about to get you, dog.
I said it wrong. My bad. That's
Don't
what
worry.
you guys are here for. That's what you have a team for. Thank you. I knew he's Jewish. My bad.
You gotta try to get that dude killed, man.
My bad. I get his head chopped off and all that stuff. My bad.
Hold on. Somebody put Donald Trump took a dip. Donald Trump did take a hell of a stunner too. He did.
Donald Trump did take a stunner.
He did.
McMahon.
But Logan Paul's supposed to be athletic. Donald Trump is. So that's also a difference there.
Oh,
he took that that was a horrible stunner. But listen, that whole thing with those guys is amazing. And I'm just mad for as many times as these guys put on great matches and they've never to me under-delivered, including tonight. Tonight's problem for me with night 2 over night 1, the finishes all did seem a little wonky, right? And like you said, the first match I didn't understand. Even for what it's worth, even Roman pinning both of them was kind of odd. You know what I mean? Like, if that's more dominant. The only thing you can remember more dominant than that is putting your foot on somebody's chest the way Omos did. Okay?
Right.
Like, so just all the finishes were kind of wonky, including this one, just to set up the whole thing with Mr. Logan Paul, who's going to get knocked out. Well, I can't say knocked out, but Floyd's going to make him look bad if that fight happens. So
he's going to get punished. He's going to be punished. But listen, Wiz just came in with the hot tag. I'm going to holler at y'all. Y'all enjoy the week and be safe, fellas.
Acknowledge me.
I acknowledge you, brother, all the time, especially with that top 50 women female wrestler performance of all time. That's another show.
Yeah, that's a whole different show.
That's gonna be a show. Listen, we set up a time. We're gonna go down that list.
Appreciate you.
All right, y'all take it easy.
Hey, you know what? You said something a few minutes ago. You talking about matches that ended kind of quirky. I think this match, one that really ended kind of quirky for me, or had a lot of maneuvering in that match that really wasn't flush, was the Matt Riddle and Sheamus match. You saw a lot of issues within that match. Maybe it was work. Not to take anything from Riddle. Riddle put a lot of work in that match. Put a lot of great moves in, and my hats off to Sheamus for taking a lot of Riddle's moves as well. There were some spots that they messed up on, but all in all, the ending was kind of where he didn't really hit the bro kick like he wanted to. He busted his lips, but he got the win, U.S. champion. I think it's good for Sheamus. Sheamus seems like he always get WrestleMania moments. Sheamus is always there, and I like Sheamus. Sheamus gets WrestleMania moments on a regular basis, but I thought that match was one of the ones that I really look forward to and that I enjoyed tonight as well. But it was good. It was definitely good. What's your thoughts real quick on the Sheamus and Matt Riddle as we get ready to wrap some things up?
I honestly thought Matt Riddle would have won this, but I mean, if you're going to go when you think about it, even though I thought Matt Riddle was going to win this, if you think about it, Sheamus has lost so much the last couple of months. Like, it's kind of like at this point, it was like, okay, I get why he won. You can't bury him completely. So I'm okay with Sheamus winning. I am.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Sheamus mark. So, but here's the thing. I thought you said the wonky finish until the second replay, I thought he'd need him. Right? And then I kept saying, we were acting like, how did his mouth get busted? Well, maybe he bit his lip. And that second replay they showed, you do see his foot, catch him right in the mouth. But I thought it was a great match from Riddle. And again, somebody that, from what I know about them personally, I don't know him personally, just what I read about Matt Riddle, I've never been a fan of. But every time the guy goes in the ring, I have to be honest and say I say this, and I've gotten flack for it, and I'm not afraid to continue to say it. I don't know what it is about him, but I see a little Shawn Michaels in him. It's something about how he moves in the ring, and just he has this young Shawn Michaels look. If they want to take advantage of it in a little bit, I feel there with Matt Riddle. I just think it's something about the guy, and I see why he's in this position to be where he is. And I wish, and like you just said, Corey, I think Matt should have gotten that moment. Looks like a lot of the other first timers got their moments at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he'll be around to get some more moments. I think he'll be around to get some more moments at WrestleMania. He'll be able to do that. I think the U.S. title bouncing back and forth between hands, I think it's good. You got to recreate that belt. You got to make it more popular among the people. And you figure the last couple months, it went from Bobby Lashley to Riddle, now to Sheamus. We see Riddle. Riddle probably will fight for that belt a little bit later down the line, so he can see if he can get it back. Probably to even earlier as tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw, which I wouldn't be surprised if he got it back on Monday Night Raw from Sheamus some way, somehow. He didn't destroy the title, but again, I think Riddle could be he is a star of the future. He is a star of the future in WWE. He wrestles well. Was
that supposed to be Keith Lee's belt?
Who?
Was that supposed to be Keith Lee's belt that Riddle just took the place of? Was Riddle a placeholder?
I don't think so. I think Keith Lee has some bigger fish to fry. I think when they bring Keith Lee back, or when Keith Lee gets back, I think Keith Lee will be in a major title picture. I don't want to say that was Keith Lee's belt because I don't think Keith Lee was going to beat Bobby Lashley. But I do think Keith Lee is going to be in the picture. Again, there's nothing wrong, and this is I always get with people. There's nothing wrong with going backwards to move forward. We've seen a lot of wrestlers go backwards to move forward. I don't even want to call NXT or being off TV as a backwards thing. Sometimes wrestlers go backwards to move forward all the time, or take a hiatus, or take a disappear and regroup and come back. It's the wrestling business, you know what I'm saying? So again, I think Keith Lee comes back bigger, stronger, and better here. WWE wants to put the pack behind Keith Lee. They want to put money behind Keith Lee, and I think we do see Keith Lee in the future doing some good things. A lot of things just happened to Keith Lee at the wrong time. The Royal Rumble this year. I mean, catching COVID or having COVID-related symptoms and not being able to be in the Royal Rumble kind of hurt him a little bit. And sometimes when you can't get on that card or you can't get on TV, writers begin to forget about you, characters, and so things get pushed back. But we do see Keith Lee. He was on tonight. He just wasn't on WWE main TV, but he was in the watch along. So so they still using him in some form of capacity. For those who out there who are Keith Lee fans, so go back and watch the watch along. Keith Lee was there. The wrap up, we got Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, who defeated Natalya and Tamina. I thought technical submission match. Natty didn't tap out. I guess the referee stopped the match because she passed out. To me, it's too many people passing out from submissions. Yeah. Let people tap. All right, it's too many people passing out. We saw the. I just don't like rehash stuff. We saw people pass out last night. All right, the night before last night. So submissions. Natty should have tapped. It is what it is. She should have tapped. I like Shayna and Natalya with the win. I just don't know who's going to beat them right now. Maybe we get the Bella Twins. We saw the Bella Twins in a little bit of action tonight.
I call them Beauty and the Beast. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. I'm saying who's the beauty and who's the beast. I love them both. I mean that with the utmost respect. I love these women as a tag team. I think they're the most, who else can beat them? They remind me of Vader and Mankind as a tag team. They're just that dominant, and really, unless you just want them to lose, I don't see no female tag team that they're putting together can beat those two women. Frankly, in my opinion, at least not on the main roster, unless you're going to put back a power couple again, and like you had before, when it was, whoever pairs with Charlotte or with Asuka pairs. If that's just two single females that are dominant like that, the tag teams that they're developing, I don't see happening. But people were upset about them not winning, being Natty and Tamina, saying why even put them in the match at all if they were going to lose, and that they do this all the time with people they build up off of Smack Talk Center and those kind of things and talking smack, and then they lose. I said, well, they were going to lose anyway. It didn't matter. If you're going to lose, why not put two of your best, two of your legends, two of your your icons in that women's division, Tamina and Natty, in that match. So I didn't care they lost. It doesn't matter who was in that match.
It was a longevity award. They gave them a WrestleMania moment. And Tamina was in a match at WrestleMania. Natty was in a match at WrestleMania. They gave them a longevity award. And they had two matches, right? They wrestled 2 nights. So again, longevity award. Hey, we thank you for your service. We let you pay homage to your dads who both passed away. We give them their WrestleMania moments again, who are Hall of Fame legends, and we let you guys move. Where's your thoughts on the Tamina and Natalya not winning the women's championship?
I thought they should have got it, but I mean, I guess if you really have long-term plans for Shayna and Nia, I guess they're keeping it on to make it whoever takes it off of them look really strong. So I can't, like y'all said, I can't think of who's taking it off of them, but whoever does is going to look strong enough to do it, and by beating them. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise for the next team.
Yeah, maybe there's a blessing in disguise.
Do they go back to NXT now? Is that okay now that NXT has women tag team champions? Not going to be. Remember, they would go. Okay, so then that
absolves it.
Okay,
it absolves it. It's
that's
not,
what I was wondering. What thought anyway?
Yeah, it is all. I mean, you right now you look at strong. Only thing you can think of maybe is Charlotte hooking up Asuka, Charlotte and Becky, somebody like that. To me, unless you do a fluke where you get somehow Lana and Naomi somehow gets it off of them, that's one of the ones that makes sense. But I don't see how. I don't see who's gonna take them off. Last thing we want to hit on Big E and Apollo Crews. Great for Apollo Crews, man, to get an Intercontinental Championship. Let's be honest. Apollo Crews has come a long way since the pandemic. He's won the U.S. title as well as the Intercontinental title. They're really trying to get Apollo Crews into a household name. And I think with this gimmick, it's helping him out. Now we know that he has, I don't even want to call him Dabacato, whatever you want to call him, general, whatever it is, to help him and to assist him. It's good for Apollo Crews. I just want to see how long it can run for. How long can he carry it? They've given him everything he can. They given him the title, gave him a feud. Can Apollo Crews carry this where he's at right now? What's your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, they've already invested enough storyline in him within the last 2 months to just go ahead and let him run with it. I can see it's going to be a fresh face that ends up taking it off of him. I don't think it's Big E. Big E gets another match, but he won't win the rematch either. I think from there, Big E probably goes to Roman, just because I can't think of anybody else Roman would be facing right now. But no, Apollo will have a nice run with it.
Yeah, I'm glad that you answered the question, because we talked about that earlier. What's next for Big E, or who's next for Roman? And Mike said Mike said that Big E will be next for Roman. One of the reasons that he had to lose the IC title tonight with that Roman. He's next for Roman. Since you wasn't here for that part, man, your thoughts on Roman pinning both guys?
I mean, it alludes to what I just said. It was pretty much like, oh, that's cool. And then you realize you're like, wait, that just eliminated everybody that was in contention for him. It's like, where do you go now? Because that's not something you can just be like, okay, let's spin another program off of that. No, he definitively ended it right there. Like, he pinned both of them. What do you do with them at that point? You're not getting a rematch. Neither one has a plausible cause to get a rematch at this point.
Right. You just beat both of them. You can have them feud with each other, but you can't have them face Roman. I pinned both of y'all. I made both of y'all look like fools. Thanks. Shout out to Derek Mitchell, man. Dabba-Kato is being known as Commander Aziz, which to me, Mike, you was right. They try to make us forget that he's no longer Dabba-Kato, but to me, in my wrestling mind, it was only like 2 months ago or 3 months ago that he was Dabba-Kato.
But almost came out of nowhere for AJ Styles after being Shane McMahon's door. He was just the door guy. He wasn't even security. He was the door guy.
But he came back in almost the type of same capacity for AJ Styles, like security guy. He hired him. The Raw Underground got shut down, and we never heard almost his name.
True.
At Raw Underground.
No, they did. Yes, no. Once or twice, Shane Nate called him. Almost. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. You know me.
If you call him almost, he used the same name. My thing is with Dabba-Kato and getting down as a commander. You just built this guy up as Dabba-Kato. He just had a match with Braun Strowman.
But you built him up. But you built him up through that Raw Underground that failed. Epically. You know what I mean? So from that, you got to get rid of everybody. That never existed, as far as they're concerned. You know what I mean? It's like bite this. You know what I'm saying? If they could take it back and wish that Matt Hardy didn't call in his Octalita, they would. Or would they? Because that made a lot of cash and created a lot of controversy. So I don't know. But with Dabba-Kato or this kind of Commander Aziz, to me, when it comes to wrestling, some things you got to forget and just, okay, he's somebody different. Okay. If you could beat Apollo into a Wakandian accent, then I can believe Dabba-Kato now is Commander Aziz.
But it's and I'm gonna leave it alone. But Apollo is kind of you can buy that more because his parents are Nigerian. Yeah. He probably talked it in his house.
I asked our favorite Nigerian what he thought about him, and Wally from the Everything Redskins, everything, and he said he loves him. So there you go. He's moving the needle.
But you got to look at what's going on in sports. When you look at UFC, at the time he switched over, you had nothing but Nigerian champions. Mm-hmm. So you had Nigerians on top.
They're all over the UFC right now. So
right, they're all over. So you had Nigerians on top. So it made sense to create the Nigerian in the WWE so he can fit in with the other Nigerians who are on top right now. Hey Wiz, we'll give it our closing thoughts. I'm coming up on an hour here. What was your best moment of the last two nights?
Oh, it's Bianca winning. That's probably the moment of WrestleMania. I mean, realistically, as I stated pretty much everywhere, night one was going to be better than night two, and it was to me. I mean, pretty much, yeah, definitely Bianca winning. Almost for real. I mean, I get Roman is the guy, so of course you're putting him on last, but it could have almost benefited them and probably had a stronger rating of how WrestleMania was viewed by most fans if the nights were swapped. Mm-hmm. If tonight's card was last night's card and last night's card was tonight's card, people would be leaving right now. Oh, what a mania! Instead of people aren't mad that Roman won, but it kind of like okay, it was kind of like you kind of baselined with the ending with tonight. It brought you back down. Not that it was a bad thing, but it brought you back down leveled.
Yeah. I get you that. I think we had this discussion on Wrestling Marks of Excellence several times. People want to go home in the WrestleMania happy, right? Vince wants people at the end of WrestleMania to go home cheering and happy. If he wanted to stay true to that, based off your point, he should have had Bianca close out because everybody went home happy. I think people went home tonight like, dang, Roman just beat Edge and Daniel Bryan at the same time. Like, they're done. The same questions we're having, like, who's next for Roman? If you was in an arena here, Mike, let me chime in. In the arena, are you going home happy with Roman winning? I mean, nothing wrong with Roman winning, but are you going home?
No, I think exactly what Corey said is true. And you see what I got on, right? I'm all for Roman, but even I thought Edge should have won. We talked about it earlier, like Corey said. I've been everywhere this weekend, WrestleMania, doing various shows, and Edge consistently. And the one thing I said, Corey, maybe I've been saying it for weeks. I wanted to go to a Mania where Roman would finally get cheered, and guess what, y'all? He still got booed at this WrestleMania because he was going against the yes chant back in front of fans and the return of Edge, and it was just too much to overcome. So for him winning, I thought it was it was a little bit of a letdown. If you reverse the two nights, I think Corey absolutely right. You're coming out of WrestleMania going, oh my God, and taking nothing from the people who performed the night too, as well. But the biggest ones for me, Bianca Belair and Bobby Lashley retaining. To me, I think just as big as Bianca winning is the fact they let Bobby Lashley retain, because that is truly the one thing if you could have bet money, I'd have put money on Drew McIntyre retaining, and I was blown away by Bobby Lashley retaining that title. I just thought the same way with Rhea Ripley having a chance to come back and do it right, and that's all you kept hearing. Oh, there were fans there, or he didn't get his moment. He didn't get his moment when he beat Brock Lesnar. Wait till fans come back. It felt like it was all set. The breaking up of the Hurt Business. It all felt like it was set up for him to retain, and he lost. Even the backstage promos in the rain delay. I don't care if it takes me all night. I'll kick your ass. It was all for him to win. For me, watching Bobby Lashley win that, and then seeing my daughter, again, watching that main event, watching them girls cry before the match, and then get into the match, and seeing me finally become not just a fan of her as a person of Bianca Belair, becoming a fan of Bianca Belair, the in-ring performer of the weekend. So for me, those are my favorite two things for WrestleMania weekend.
My favorite things, again, one is Bianca Belair defeating Sasha Banks. And I'm not even necessarily her defeating Sasha Banks, just the match itself. It was great for me just to see this match to happen, because I like to see people transition. I like to see people transition from good to great. And she's been in this match for me was a transition in the women's division, as I mentioned earlier, because now you can base things around other people other than the four horsewomen, which right now we got Bayley doing her thing on SmackDown or wherever she's at on SmackDown. You got Sasha doing her thing. You got two of them who are away from the company right now. So again, it's establishing other women and different dance partners. Shout out to Bianca Belair. I mean, again, her and Sasha Banks, and for Sasha Banks doing what she did for Bianca Belair and the company allowing it to happen. Because again, you got to strike the iron when it's hot, and it was hot with Bianca Belair even ever since she got called up. And it's been, again, a slow burn. This is what I tell wrestling fans and Wizard. You say it all the time. Let the storyline play out. Look at Bianca Belair from last year at Royal Rumble, for the last couple of years at the Royal Rumble, what she has done and how it progressively gotten better. She never, if I'm not mistaken, Wiz, hit me right, she never won the championship in NXT, right?
Nope.
So again, she never won a championship in NXT. She got her moment now. And look, I guarantee if you ask her, would you take an NXT run for 6 months, or will you take winning your first individual championship at WrestleMania? She would say, well, first win my individual championship at WrestleMania. So again, it's about storyline. It's about how things build up. I am also good about the Bobby Lashley thing. I've always been a Bobby Lashley MVP fan. Was a little upset about the Hurt Business, but again, I'm glad Bobby Lashley won, and I'm also happy that they started off the show. This, as I mentioned this last night on last night's show, Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre starting up the show let the fans know that this WrestleMania was going to be legit. They didn't try to build it up. Mm-hmm. They started off with a bang, and they finished with a bang. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it was big there. Cesaro finally getting the win at WrestleMania was big for me. Seeing a pure wrestling match with him and Seth Rollins. Seeing Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens wrestle, their dream. They wanted to wrestle each other at WrestleMania, right? This is what they talked about when they was in the indie, the VSWs and Ring of Honor and in the gym and El Generico, whoever that is, right? When they this is what they talked about, wrestling at WrestleMania. And then they'll insert a star like Logan Paul, a household name. It just made it great for them. All right. So those are the type of moments I'd like to take from WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, again, as you mentioned, and I said he was the biggest heel in the company. He's the biggest heel in professional wrestling right now. He's the biggest heel. And to me, getting the boos when you put him in the ring with a baby face like Edge and Daniel Bryan, What else was he gonna do? He was gonna get a boost, right? I'm guilty, and I apologize to all the intelligent wrestling fans. I was like, man, WWE is never gonna let Roman get booed again, right? Give me a situation. But now people want to boo Roman, and it's cool to boo Roman. And the way they flipped it and the way they did it was great. And again, WWE, my hat's off. 2 nights WrestleMania. Mike, we asked Brian and them this question last night, so I'm gonna ask you the question as we get out of here. Do you like the 2-night format, and would you like to see WWE continue this?
24 hours ago, I would have told you yes, because I think in person, being at WrestleManias, I think the energy in person is always so high that the fans could do it both nights. But sitting at home and watching it, it kind of made me a little tired. It wasn't that it was too long. I don't think that, necessarily night 1 was tremendously better than night 2. It just was better, right? But night 2 kept me. The matches went along fast. I think it's too long. I think that's still just too much wrestling in back-to-back nights when I got to watch wrestling on tomorrow for Monday Night Raw, and then you had SmackDown on Friday. It's a such thing as wrestling overload, where WWE knows how to do that very well, and they gave it to us. So I'm going to say, after saying 24 hours ago, yes, I would love it. I'm going to say, nah, it is actually just too much to have it that way. Go back to WrestleMania Sunday. Plus, I love being able to say Happy WrestleMania Sunday instead of saying Happy WrestleMania Day or Saturday or, a week. So bring it back just for that reason alone.
All right. Wiz, ask same question. You've seen both nights. Would you like the 2-night format going, or you think they should go back to 1 night?
The only way I would be okay with 2 nights is if I'm going live. If I'm paying for 2 nights, it would be the equivalent for me paying the 1 WrestleMania on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, just keep it 1 day. That's the only way I'm okay with it. If I'm, like I said, I'm paying for 2 nights, and it's like it would be the equivalent of me buying 1 ticket.
What if you brought your tickets and you brought the 2-night ticket and you got 1 seat, one place, another seat somewhere else? I'll be kind of mad.
I would be okay with that if it equals out to me having, paying 1 price.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be okay with that. But honestly, I know me. I'll just get my combo ticket and call it a day. I already know how I am.
Yeah, I would have combo ticket, call it a day, same seat, same area, same place. With that being said, man, both nights, I think, to me, I like the 2-night format because you get more matches in and more stars get to be seen, and you get more time. To me, sitting in the arena for 8-9 hours, I enjoy wrestling. But I mentioned last night, sometimes you nod off, sometimes you lose focus, and everybody gets tired. Breaking it up in 2 nights gives stars some rest. It gives people time to enjoy it. And again, to me, I think this makes a little bit more money for the company. Now, I don't think they're going to do this in Dallas because I don't think you're going to get 200,000 people. Because again, you get 100,000 one night, you'll get 100,000 the next night. I think so. I think Dallas will be 1 night here when we go to WrestleMania next year, coming from Dallas, Texas. Hey, Mike, man, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. You're always family here at the Wrestling Marks of Excellence. Let everyone know where they can hit you at, where they can find you. Put all your social media handles and all that stuff out there.
It's already right there. I'm the head of the table. Come on, Mike Knoxxx, 3X's on social media. Thank you, guys. I'm trying to be like Nephew Core. I'm going to be more humble this year. That's what I'm going to be. Try to be more humble. But thank you again for having me, man. Always fun to talk with you guys.
No problem, man. Thanks for accepting the invitation, man. Find Mike Knoxxx on social media at Mike Knoxxx. That's Mike Knoxxx with 3 X's because he didn't say it. I'm going to say it for him because he's always hardcore. All right. So, Wizard, let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Probably in pictures on WWE Shop. But
yes, he wasn't so humble. I told you this morning I was gonna get one out of you.
Yeah, there you go. I was being nice. That's me being humble, was being nice for that, giving that. But my kicks are my fix. That's where I am. It's just a guy with shoes and wrestling. That's it.
Got you. You can find me at Real Glenn Thomas. Always, thanks for joining us here on the Wrestling Marks of Excellence. If you missed any of this, man, make sure you check us out on WME Podcast, WME Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Also, check us out on Instagram, YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, wherever you listen to your podcast. Check it out as well. As always, shout out to Dr. D. If it wasn't for him, wouldn't be no Wrestling Marks of Excellence. Wiz, take us home.
Hey, if you're not confirmed, consider yourself denied.
In the story, ladies and gentlemen, good night.